Sentinels. We'll see if they're going to accept the stonks of Lucian Corki, or if we see more Lucian first picks, even though it has done so terribly in Major 1. It has remained popular, and I've still been seeing a lot of the top teams being like, Lucian's broken. So regardless of the stats, we might still see it, but kicking things off, it looks like Immortals don't care too much about the stats because they're leading off with a Nami ban, which has not been boasting good numbers either at 3 and 7.
I think that this might be a trap. That's kind of a trap there. We were talking about this yesterday on the desk. We were like, where are all the engaged supports? Yes, Nami and all these Ardents are awesome. You can use the Ardent and the Staff of Flowing Water, but where is Leona? Where is Braum? We didn't see all too much of those supports yesterday, and we might see that day-to-day adaptation where teams are saying, look, there wasn't all that much success on stuff like Nami. Senna is still rising in priority, and despite what Smacks and Rafa would have told the audience yesterday, I still think Lucian is strong. I just think there's some not so great players playing it right now. They have not maximized the efficiency on this champion. I solo carry every one of my games. Just play better, just win. You know, that's the motto. Just win.
Yeah, just play better, just win. Forehead, that all works. Yeah. We see supports being targeted, so Beg actually being the target of the bans for Immortals instead of Michael straight away. I do expect the Orianna, but instead it's a Lucian. So this is the first time a team has not banned the Orianna away from Michael. And I'm curious, Alk, is there's not a world we see like an Orianna first pick from Immortals. It feels like Michael might actually get this pick.
He might. Again, there's so many different other first picks, right? Like if they really want to go for this Orianna, I have not been the biggest fan. Yeah, exactly. I've not been the biggest fan of Hoon on things like the Corki and the Orianna, some more control mages. I want to see him on playmakers, things that have huge potential to fight the opponents and, you know, force them into awkward positions. And that is where I think Sentinels have really been weak, is when enemies start to aggress on them, start to get very forceful, and they tend to crumble in those small moments. Looking to Immortals, what are they going to go for? Rakan. Okay, getting Yikes.
Yeah, that's a little bit new. We haven't seen the priority on Rakan that much. Now, of course, this champion has been picked quite a bit. It's not a surprise to see Rakan in the game. But as a first pick, this is a little bit surprising to me to see that come through. Immortals was heavily prioritizing Malphite bans and getting that for Iraqi Zoro. So I was also thinking that we might see that, but I don't love it as an early pick. We get Sheesh onto the Camille, which I love for Sentinels. And now we have the Zyra Rakan and TF taken away from Michael, but he still has his Ori. So I feel like he's probably happy in this position.
Casanova, okay, now it's kind of ruined. I was going to say with TF here before the TF ban, I was like, oh, this is the Rakan. They played Fizz in there was a Fizz jungle by Lamont yesterday, or setting up for the Uber Cheese qualifier strat. Yeah, exactly. We're going for the free agents, freelo comp, but they're going to go a little bit more standard. Really great ball delivery system, and Sentinels have set themselves up with a fantastic dive composition, which now Immortals, they can buffer. There's a Malphite still available.
And there it is, of course.
And Jarvan right there. So difficult to try and dive these champions. And I wonder, we were talking, hey, she could get the Camille. You could also just get the Gragas. Definitely a flex pick. We'll have to see what they go for. But Sentinels picking up the Galio, still going for that full dive. So if you think there's a turret there, no, there's not. Sentinels, they think that turrets do not exist. They've got their own wreckers. They've got the Volibear ultimates coming on through. They do not exist. We're here to kill.
Yeah, when I look at this, I mean, I love the Sentinels draft because I feel like everybody on that team kind of got what they want. I think Rest looked really good on this Kai'Sa, and Beg now has a proactive support that can continue to help out Sheesh. We love to see Beg on Engage. Now, Mike may end up kind of a lamb to the slaughter against Malphite, Jarvan, Rakan, PF on this Orianna. But if Mike can just get his damage out, get a shockwave off, even if he dies, I do think that Sentinels have a good setup to clean up the rest of the fight.
This is a pick and roll composition for Sentinels. If you're a sports fan, you will just give your ball over to someone like Sheesh or the Gragas or even the Galio and just deliver the ball right into the enemy team. Hope that it can go off with a massive shockwave. I agree. Sentinels, Michael Udall is kind of just like, guys, I can't follow very fast. If you could just please move a little bit towards my ball, or at least wait for me to get over there. He's going to be having a hard time finding consistent damage, but I think when you're looking at Sentinels, it is all about the one knockout punch, and anything after that I think is going to be a little difficult to find.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think that it's going to be eyes on Michael to see if he can toe the line of being close enough to get the ball in there for some action, but also far enough back to not just get deleted by the engage from IMT, as we actually have Goom and Yikes putting a lot of pressure on the bottom lane in the early game. They had some favorable trades and they've been able to get priority, so we will look to see the crab potentially be taken by Lamont, as the river control is fully in Sentinel's favor, but maybe a mid gank. Lamont just going to show presence. Sheesh is going to do the same. We'll see as they start to rotate out.
This is just the mid lane scuffle. They want mid priority. They're fighting for it. Lamont, whoa.
Lamont
whoa, buddy. I don't know about that one.
That's a little bit crazy. Getting a little bit breezy with it, as Lamont just going to EQ in onto Michael and Sheesh, but they still have so much bottom priority that Lamont is kind of afforded the ability to have some over aggression, I will say, and still find that crab, as they are going to go for a blue invade onto Sheesh, and I'd like to see them split the map. They should know that something like this is happening, and I love this from Sheesh. He's walking straight in.
Doing a fantastic job at responding on the fly. Rundir for Draki Zoro will actually try to answer this. We'll pop the Scryer's Bloom, and if they can stop this blue take from Sheesh, we'll set up Lamont for early success in this game. TF is moving, but doesn't have that level 5, doesn't have that ability open, but just taking that away from them kind of puts Lamont a little bit further ahead in that matchup.
Yeah, wasted so much time for Sheesh. He sits there hitting the buff, doesn't actually get to clear anything. This is going to give a nice little lead to Lamont. Hoon able to move first, catching a bad timing for Michael's reset, and it just leaves Sheesh alone on an island, and you need to help Sheesh get those early leads so he can help you out as well, right? Like, Sheesh falling behind on Lamont on this Camille is not boding too well, as we do have the lanes kind of coming back to parity, but so far IMT has had full priority to help Lamont run free through the jungle.
Exactly, and this is just kind of the setup for matchups. I would say that this is going to be a little bit difficult for Sentinels, just because you have an okay matchup in the mid lane where you're fighting for this lane constantly, but both of them are, I mean, right now TF is just constantly shoving and does have the Destiny, so you see multiple members just backing up around turrets. MTS is like, guys, I can't move. Like, TF is in fog. I'm kind of doomed. Kind of shifting away from some of the other players right now. We're looking at Xayah in the bot lane, and while it has been kind of popular, especially with Rakan, yesterday Xayah did not have the best performance. We had a lot of aggressive Xayah plays from the likes of Jackie on C9, but it wasn't all that impressive, and I'm wondering if we're going to continue to see more of that, especially with, you know, the rise in priority of stuff like the Varus.
Yeah, Varus was looking really strong, and it does have a pretty favorable matchup against the Xayah, at least in the lane. Of course, the supports can make a big difference, however, which can change things, but we do have the objectives spawning in just a moment, Alk, as the Dragon, it looks like, may just go to IMT with the Rift going over to Sentinels. It looks like Sheesh and Michael are starting to initiate the trade, and it looks like IMT is going to be okay with it for now. I don't know that they're going to want to collapse and try and play for both.
Yeah, they can make a really fast rotate here if they want. You already see that Hoon is kind of leaning this way, but maybe with a Destiny and with a Rocky Zoro finding them on this, they could potentially try to find their way over here on this trade, but they'll simply just say hello to each other, say hi, get themselves this objective. And you mentioned it there that the support matchup kind of makes the difference, but every time that I've played solo queue, especially with Smax, it is bot lane is support diff. It doesn't matter. You have to be really griefing on the bot lane like duo role for it to matter, but support just ruins the map. It ruins the lane too if they're not particularly expert at it. It is really tough to play to carry.
Yeah, it can be incredibly difficult if you're dealing with that support difference. And I mean, at least looking at this early matchup bottom, I think that Rakan has been able to provide a lot of the early pressure. However, I think Galio, as this game continues to scale onward, will have an overall pretty good matchup against the Rakan. If you've got the fast fingers, I believe you can still interrupt the Grand Entrance in this game like you can on Summoner's Rift. So
yes,
we will be seeing Beg looking out to try and do that. Not in time this time, as we do get the charm up onto Rest. Gonna kite out as Goom tries to get a lot of damage through the Destiny Gate coming down. Goom gets the stun, tries to get the knockdown, but that's just gonna be a heal coming out from Beg, trying to keep him alive.
Oh no.
But that's still going to be first blood going over to Immortals. I thought Rest was out of there, but steps up a little bit more, and we find the re-engage as Lamont tries to look at Michael as well. The Cataclysm comes down. There's the Shockwave.
Nice.
She's trying to finish it off with the Hextech Ultimatum. Not quite gonna be able to finish this kill onto Lamont. It's just going to be a 1-for-0 across the map. IMT picking up first blood.
Positive trade for them, and the honey fruit is not worth it. Beg or rest, it is just not worth it, man. I promise you. I don't know if you're running the honey fruit rune where you're getting 20 to 60 gold off of it, but it's just not worth it. It's a little bit healing. You're gonna have to reset anyway. Goes down there and makes it a positive trade, especially with how long Lamont was able to stay alive in the mid lane.
Yeah, Lamont,
We'll have to see what actually comes from it, though.
Yeah, Lamont bought a lot of space, right? We were thinking, okay, we get the Destiny Gate to bottom. Michael and Sheesh are going to at least trade plates and maybe get even more gold. But Lamont comes in and just clears the wave by engaging, not allowing for any of those plates to go down. A great pivot and just a good play on the bottom side of the map from IMT. Now, yeah, maybe that honey fruit was a bit of a diffie there, but we'll see if Rest can start to bring things back. Not too far behind overall when we look at the grand scheme of things.
It's a kill. It's a little bit of gold. It is a massive lead, though, because when you looked at what happened during that play, obviously the mid lane was able to crash a wave, but massive amount of gold going over to the bot lane of IMT. I'm looking to see what Sentinels can do with this Rift Herald, because we're still waiting for them to cash it in. Looks like a lot of them are trying to make this movement on the top side, and maybe this is to try and unlock MTS from this laning phase and start to set up some of their members. They all just dive onto this turret. They're making trades on opposite sides of the map.
First blood turret race right now. Gonna go to IMT though.
No.
They get it just barely before Sentinels. We saw 2 turrets get ganked. Alk, there weren't even champions there.
Zoro was like going to lock up, and then all of a sudden Camille's just like hook shocks over the wall, and he's like, yep, never mind, I'm out, guys. This is the... there's like a funny Twitter meme where like the person opens the door and goes right back into the door. They're like, yeah, no, I'm leaving. Goodbye.
Yeah, I thought they were just waiting for Zoro to go for the dive, but they end up going aggressive early on and now trying to trade one more tower back because IMT took the tier 2 on the Dragon lane. But Sentinel's not able to convert the mid lane. It is going to be a taunt onto Rakan. Sheesh comes over the wall. The Unstoppable Force coming through.
Good.
That's a big shockwave as Iraqi Zoro is looking to fall the rest. On the backside of the fight, one more knock up to Lamont. The Cataclysm gets canceled. He dies before it goes off. And it looks like Goom will get picked up. Oh, flashes over Beg, but misplaced slightly. The dodge coming through. Beg avoids the feathers and gets out with their life. A big fight for Sentinels.
That is a possibly game-winning one that turns around this early game from Immortals. I was thinking this was going to be a pretty bad fight. They called in the Rift Herald pretty early for themselves. I thought they would have tried to use it a little closer to that Dragon timer personally, and then set up for a mid-push, make it a very awkward trade for Immortals, but they're able to then make that trade. And Immortals try to find this fight, try to find the engage onto beginnings. There was just so much damage. Specifically, I think Rest had really great positioning, who so far in the major and in the qualifiers has not had the best time in this duo role, but in that fight particularly was one of the biggest performers for Sentinels.
Yeah, I think Rest had a pretty fantastic fight, and considering how far behind they were, at least in the items, right? Because we see the Essence Reaver was completed for Goom, but on the other side, we just had the BF sword, so it came down to some positioning to make sure that Rest had enough uptime, that the fact that they were behind in items wouldn't matter, and Rest did a fantastic job of that. Really well played from Sentinels. A lot of players getting out with just slivers of HP to gain this big advantage, and they've swung the gold lead back to even and picked up a dragon off of this.
And most of this, if not the entire gold lead that they had, was all in MTS. You look at that matchup, about 1,800 gold in favor of this Gragas, but across the other lanes, you're looking at mid lane, up 1,000 for Hoon. In the 80 carry roll, about 1,000 there for Goom. It's still IMT favored, but that fight, I think, at least buys them a little bit of time. It obviously gets them to Drake. It kind of pads out the stats that maybe we're talking about from item differential between players. And I'm looking for IMT. What is their counterpunch? We haven't seen all that much effectiveness out of the Destiny past that first gank. And I want to see how they utilize this on the side lane. Can they pick and pull Sentinels apart at the seams?
Yeah, we're posturing mid right now. A little bit of a Nayram as we do have an engage on to Michael. We talked about how hard it would be to get away, but that's the ult in from Beg. Trying to get some peel down, but Sheesh going to be the first victim to fall. Big taunt from Beg, but there's not much follow-up. The Shockwave going to hit on too. Trying to look for the re-engage. Where's MTS? Not going to find anything straight away and just going to kite out Just a single pick, but almost every ultimate blown straight away. Beg,
No.
where are you going? Stepping
Hello?
into the river. Might get picked off as Lamont does fall pretty low in the re-engage onto Hoon. It's a very scrappy fight back and forth. Mike trying to kite away, but he may fall as well to Iraqi Zoro, as there's the chase down and the slaps coming in from the Malphite. He's trying to rock him down, but he gets peeled by MTS. And the turn coming back onto the Malphite, not gonna find that one. Woo, that is a scrappy fight between these two out, but only the kill onto Beg and Sheesh at the start.
This is just Caster Curse, the video game right
I still
now.
found it.
Every fight, finally Sheesh finds the kill onto Iraqi Zoro, but Casanova, this game is just full-on Caster Curse. I say that Immortals are doing good. Sentinels win a fight. Sentinels, I say they're looking okay. They've got a little bit of a lead there, and then they just take the craziest, unnecessary fight. We're talking about an ARAM, the North American ARAM. We're just constantly sitting in mid lane. We're trading waves, and they just decide, all right, it's time to fight. We're not doing anything. There's no dragon. There's really nothing else on the map. So summoner spells used. It was for glory. It was for pride at that point. I just needed to say, hey, I'm the better marksman. Hey, I'm the better mid laner.
Oh no! They find Hoon. That's a pick. That's a pick onto Hoon. Michael tries to finish it off. MTS gets in there. Yikes trying to peel, but may just fall themselves. No, that's going to be the Recon ultimate going to be able to find the charm, the quickness to get away. But that's a Baron being pinged by Sentinels out. This is very aggressive with 4 members up for IMT.
Oh man, maybe the 80 gold for the cannon minion for TF, probably not worth it. That's just small analysis, not great at doing math. Sheesh.
Sheesh into yikes. Hextech ultimatum at the back line. Michael goes down immediately to the Cataclysm from Lamont. He's going to try and kite it out away now, but Beg going to try and taunt him up. Iraqi Zoro on the re-engage. A lot of damage coming out from Goom. Going to take out the Galio, and that's going to be the Hourglass. Not going to save Goom, though. MTS is there. Zoro might be too tanky. The gate! The gate comes in! Hoon trying to pick up the kills. Iraqi Zoro stepping up. The health bars are so low, but finally rest goes down, and MTS gonna fall as well. Iraqi Zoro holds on. Heroics from Hoon to keep IMT in the game.
Oh my god, that fight took so long that Hoon literally respawned with Destiny Gate and is able to jump right into the fight. And immediately after, I like the use of Baron as a potential to try and pivot away and start a team fight. But Sentinels, you take a little too long on that. You don't have a lot of damage. We were talking about this in the draft, but Michael Udall on this Orianna has looked really good, but the damage in the early game has not been Orianna's strong suit. And a lot of these shockwaves are starting to feel kind of like kitty pushes as 2 members are coming back from the redeploy for Sentinels. They want to try and fight for this Drake, but mid priority is the name of the game as Immortals trying to find something.
Yeah, MTS going to be moving in onto Lamont. That looked like a shockwave already. Going to be a kite out from the Jarvan, but gets caught up with the Hextech ultimatum. The re-engage coming back through for IMT.
Oh, God.
But he just blows up. That's just the damage from the Orianna and the Kaisa. They've started to scale at this point, and Rakan just gets a face full of void as Rest takes him down.
Immortals, guys, what are we doing? We're just fighting. This is literally just a fight game. We're fighting permanently. Hoon. Okay, all right.
Okay,
yeah, I know.
They didn't get it.
We were, oh man,
Oh.
that one was really close.
That's a heart attack, Alk. That's a heart attack right there. I wanted to make a joke, but we had more action. It was just like dying first gave the tempo advantage, and Immortals was looking like they could pick up the dragon, but then they just took a fight in mid. We just saw the engage immediately, and Sentinels picks it up once again, grabs another Drake for themselves.
The biggest thing for me so far has just been, where is the vision? Because a lot of this is Hoon disrespecting vision, and now this right here, really good pump fake from Sentinels to get that away from Hoon.
That's huge. Xayah, no ultimate available to defend themselves against the engage. Sheesh will have an open angle to set up Beg and try and take down this Xayah, which is one of the strongest members of IMT right now. That's where a lot of this damage is going to be coming from. Yes, TF is very strong right now. He's on 3 items. He's going to be cranking out a lot, but TF is more of a utility mid laner, even though, yes, there is still a lot of damage. The consistent damage throughout the fight is coming from Goom, and if Sentinels can take them down immediately, it is massive for these team fights.
They want to look for a pick right now. I mean, just look at how far ahead Kuhn is right now. 12,000 gold. We're going to be able to get that nice team fight view right before this. All the teams, we're in the Baron dance right now, Casanova. We are just waiting for teams to step into the river, step up for this Baron. maybe get a little bit antsy. Watch where Iraqi Zoro is going to use his ultimate. It will be game-changing if he can find some of the backline members of Sentinels.
Yeah, a lot of poke
Just
going on
trading
to
blows.
Iraqi Zoro. Beg starting to push up, looking for that taunt. Now it's a chase down for IMT. Lamont still posturing to look for an engage potentially onto Michael. I know they want to get onto this Orianna. It's the easiest target. Kaisa, if possible, but she does have that ability to jump away. As there's the open in from Iraqi Zoro. It's going to land onto 3, but there's not any follow-up straight away. Rest has had time to kite out and still has the Void Seeker to get away. There's the taunt from Beg, and Yike is going to fall down.
That's one.
Michael.
That's
there's
two.
a trade now. She still hasn't died. He has the Hourglass, or not the Hourglass, but the GA to revive. Hoon is out of mana and can't do anything else.
Nice.
And that is just a clean wipe from Sentinels. 5 for nothing, and they're going to push straight down mid. This might just be the game, Alpha Battery.
Oh, they have a pretty nice wave, and they're protecting it pretty well. Sentinels with a really great fight. I was going to say that Immortals win this out slowly when they have the Mountain Drake. The more poke they can land on the Sentinels, they cannot heal off of it. Sentinels going for the death push. They want to end this game, and off of a really great return fight from Sentinels, they'll find a stompy kind of game 1 victory versus Immortals. Back and forth that one. Oh man, Casanova.
This looks
that was a game.
Entirely different team from yesterday. They looked so good in this game, and yes, there was a little bit of over-aggression from IMT, but I do want to give, credit where it's due for Sentinels on their team fighting, which we have praised them on their team fighting in the past. It's never really been the weak point for this team, but they look so good in all these fights. Mike's positioning was great. We needed him to step up. His lane phase went even. He got his pocket pick of Orianna, and the game just looked so good. Rest. This was another player that you were asking for them to step up this bottom lane, or this dragon lane from Sentinels, and they absolutely did.
Did a fantastic job on the Kaisa, and when I'm looking at this team, this is another matchup. Coming into yesterday, I said that Sentinels was one of our best standard team fight teams in the tournament by far. You have control mages in the mid lane, you have a standard bot lane, and you have a great package in your jungle and Baron lane. But it has always been whether or not Rest is able to have an impact in the game, and this time around, Goom on this Xayah felt a little bit silent. Yes, had all that damage, but you look at how many team members want to go in. Xayah can't exactly have that same setup where he's able to have members kind of join in onto them, and did not have that same impact when you're able to hide one of the weaknesses that I think a lot of people would identify for Sentinels. Rest still had a pretty standout moment even amongst the crowd.
Yeah, it felt like both teams wanted Kaisa, and Sentinels had it. And they're able to actually have the follow-up, have the kite back, where Xayah was very good at trying to survive these early engages. Sheesh just kept the pressure on continually and soaked up so much of the pressure on the front line alongside MTS. The Sentinels, I really, really love this draft, and I don't expect the draft to look exactly the same from IMT going into game 2. I think they should be able to identify some of what the problems were, and I think keeping Michael off of the Orianna is good. Even if you don't think Orianna is the most broken character in the game, it has been kind of proven not only by IMT in qualifier 1, but by a lot of the teams that have been playing against Sentinels that banning out the Orianna can net you some advantages.
I just want to go through my notes real quick, just to want to make sure. Casanova, is this another patented, we didn't ban Orianna and so it is now a draft diff? We didn't ban one of the best champions that we've had in the qualifier? And I think so. I mean, I will just be honest. They had a weak setup. It wasn't like, oh, we draft 3 winning lanes and now like you can't really win and your jungle falls apart. It's not draft diffed in that sense, but I mean, Hoon on TF again. I want playmakers for this guy. Can we get something like an Akali? I don't care if it's Lucian. He still looks good on the champion. Just give me something for him. These control mages have not looked the best, and I think you're still lacking a little bit of damage. And we were looking at that first pick Rakan for Immortals. I wonder if that's going to change, and especially when we're looking at the bans. I mean, we're looking at Nami, we're looking at Braum, and Lucian. That has to change up, especially with now they're going to be on separate sides. Immortals this time picking up red.
Yeah, that is pretty interesting. We've seen a lot of blue side choices after losing game 1, but Immortals actually want this counter pick. Maybe that is to get Hoon on a playmaker, set up the counter pick so that he can try and take it to Michael, who's had a weaker lane phase, and you want to play through your strong members, who is Hoon. They looked good on the TF, in my opinion. I actually thought they made some really big plays, but I agree with you that I'd rather see an even higher impact character in the mid lane, maybe more damage, something that's not so much of a utility mage that is just bringing the crowd control and finding picks, and instead something that can carry through on these team fights.
You look at his gold share. I mean, even the last game, you look at how much gold he has. Like, there's a ton of gold on their team, and he has the most gold on his roster, and has the most gold in the game. Now, obviously, some people are gonna be like, "Oh, it's TF. He gets a little bit old." It's not that much, guys. Come on, like it's like 6 gold it's like 1 through 6. Roll the dice, but TF is really good. You get a lot of gold for yourself. That's awesome. Imagine if he's on a playmaker. Imagine if he's on something that has a little bit more agency and a little bit more of that playmake ability. I would love to see that for him. I think that there are still some other things that they need to tune up. Some of those ultimates for Araki Zoro we were talking about at the end of that game finds a 3-man shot, a 3-man unstoppable force. No one's there. Everyone's back home.
Where's my team?
Everyone's back home, and they're like, oh, I went in, guys. Comms.
Imagine if we got a Rakan flying in on the back of that, and we've got like a Destiny gate behind, even, you know, setting up for the stun. You got to kill Rest. You have to take him down, right? Like, we got to get in there. But the problem was it was a little too far forward. And by the time the team is there for the follow-up, Rest has been able to reset by ulting away. And Michael has been able to kite back a little bit as well. So they're starting to push damage. And at this point, you're trying to step up a Xayah. In comes Sheesh. In comes Sheesh and Beg to start taking down that Xayah and putting the damage out. So, yeah, they engage a little bit desynced. I think it was a good look from Araki Zoro. But seems like the entire team wasn't quite ready or on the same page to get there.
And big important thing here, obviously, when we're in the lower bracket, this next loss, if Immortals lose, they are going to be out of the tournament and we'll have to play in another qualifier. And they do not get that automatic qualification into the second major. Huge stakes for them as we go throughout this lower bracket. And I'm sure that the Immortals guys are all kind of just like huddled up in their Discord call. They're like, okay, how do we make it out of this one? How do we come back against Sentinels, who that was an explosive early game, but it still wasn't the cleanest. We talked about it before, but that was literally just, we're just going to keep fighting and someone has to go down eventually.
Yeah.
Like, we're just waiting for respawns.
And I think, like, you have to look at it. What adaptations can be made in draft, but also this wasn't entirely a draft problem. I think this game was winnable with the draft that they had. They were winning their lanes, even though they didn't necessarily pick like 3 incredibly strong lanes. They were winning them. They were winning their lanes, creating pressure for Lamont, and they were starting to snowball, but they made a few key mistakes with fighting when there was no objective available and losing these fights. They got out team fought in the mid and late game, which was the biggest difference maker. And yes, you can argue that Sentinels were able to outscale. They did have the Orianna and the Kaisa, which I think are 2 very big late game threats. But on the other side, you're still playing a Xayah, a Malphite. These are still champions that are going to be very strong as that game goes on. And I think that Immortals can still find the victories with the same draft if they decide to not make adaptations, but I'd like them to just be more picky with the fights that they take and try and entirely spend more time on setup and vision control instead of just looking for the fight and forcing it to happen.
I know this goes, contrary to popular belief. You do not actually have to fight people in this game.
You don't.
Sometimes, they force your hand, and that's when you're up against a really good team. But more likely than not, more often than not, you don't actually have to fight them. You can walk away. We saw it in the early game. They traded Dragon for Sentinels traded Dragon for Rift Herald. They didn't use it all that much, but you don't have to fight, guys. This is not a there's no obligation. I'd have to check with the TOs. I'm sure we can get Leo in here as the head ref to talk about, like, do we have to fight at Dragon?
They're required.
Is it in the rules that we have to fight at Dragon? No, guys, it is okay. Just take a breath. Take a deep breath. Look at the map and say, guys, we don't have to do this. We can just go take a turret. We can get some damage, get some chip damage, maybe take a couple jungle camps away, put Lamont in a better position on this Jarvan. And I think as a full scale, I think support is going to be really important in this matchup because Yikes had, I think, a really great game, all things considered. Tried his best on the Rakan. That's a pretty tough game to play and still played pretty well with the circumstances. And with a little bit more vision control, I think that linking up with this jungle with Lamont on this Jarvan would have provided a lot of great tools for them to kind of catch Sentinels off guard.
Yeah, I would have liked to see them split up the map and group up that support jungle. I think you've got the Twisted Fate as well for the Destiny Gate. And especially because Hoon was so accelerated, so far ahead, it would be hard to actually match that Twisted Fate. I think that could have been a way for them to create more pressure without kind of doing this group up, force a fight against a team that really wanted to team fight you. I think both supports had really fantastic mid and late games between Yikes and Beg. We were talking about wanting to see Beg really step up with Sheesh and help facilitate those engages. We got to see Beg on an engage support, and I really hope that doesn't change. I hope we continue to see Beg on things like the Galio, maybe a Leona. I know we haven't seen much of her, but I want to see more engaged supports. I don't want to see Beg going back to things like Nami.
I just want to see life from Sentinels because they have, again, standard teamfight team. The laning phase has been one of their weakest parts of their game. If I can just see life from them like we saw in this game where they are willing to fight, maybe a little bit too much, you can always reel it back. I would prefer a team that fights too much because I can tell them, and you can get your coach in there, you can get Pierce to tell them, guys, we don't have to fight this one, than a team that is too afraid to look for fights or maybe doesn't have that killer instinct eye. I really love that from Sentinels, and I think if they can incorporate that with their great ability to do macro and kind of pull teams around the map, this is a really dangerous team. But I've been hyped on Sentinels for a while, but it's always been with that small caveat of, can they fix their early game?
Yep. And we're going to Prage for a team fight comp once again for Sentinels and an early game. And we're going to Prage for Immortals adaptations. And we're going to Prage for a banger here today, Alk Battery. This is going to be an exciting matchup once again. I think these teams are pretty closely matched. And the fact that Immortals were able to take down Sentinels last time, Sentinels are back for revenge, and they're off a day that they didn't look like themselves and they didn't feel like they played up to the level that they could play at. And you can feel, it's palpable, the chip on their shoulder coming into game number 1 and just how aggressive and how well they played these team fights. I think they're going to want to continue that as they stick the Lee Sin ban once again, trying to maybe keep Lamont off of some of the aggressive junglers and open up Sheesh to have an advantage.
I'm looking at this draft and I want to see if they can maybe guide Lamont into a certain jungle matchup. I think that would be a really interesting strategy for them. They obviously, Lamont has found a ton of success throughout the qualifiers and stuff like the Wukong, but so far, what happened to Xin Zhao? Xin Zhao kind of just dropped off the face of the earth a little bit, and a lot of teams found lots of success with this champion. There it is. We're seeing adaptation already. We're seeing a change in the draft, ladies and gentlemen. Orianna, get rid of this champion, guys. It's right next to Ziggs. You just can't allow it.
Put some respect on his name. Michael Udall. Yep. He was like the number 1 in points on Orianna for a while. Like he grinds this champion. He loves this champion. He's very comfortable on it. Make him uncomfortable in the mid lane. You want to enable Hoon. Make his opponent uncomfortable. Put him on something else.
No more one tricks. Maybe they might try to force it. Okay, if you're really BM, you put Michael Udall on Ahri and you win the game. And it's just like we can get some real Ahri banter once you get into this game.
And then Michael just looks at his camera, even though you and I can't see him, and he's like, "Yeah, you want me to not pick Ahri? Want me to not pick Ahri?"
He just tweets out Ahri diff, Ahri diff.
Ahri diff,
just like look at the stats.
No,
and then I think the best reply is we just put like damage stats, and you see he like does nothing in the game. Like,
I welcome Michael to prove us wrong on the Ahri. I absolutely do. I mean, if he wants to win with Ahri, I welcome it. I felt like it wasn't even a Michael problem; it was a champion problem when we saw that.
It's a burden.
Earlier.
It's like a free burden. It's like you just put weights on all parts of your body. You're like, okay, now do a marathon. Go.
He's Rock Lee with the training weights on Ahri, and then he takes them off, and it's his Orianna. I think that's kind of where Michael's been at. Oh god. All right, Ziggs taken away though, of course. From the red side, you got to be banning Ziggs. Glad to see his little face, his little cheesing smile there on the ban list. Don't want to be seeing any of that.
He's got the biggest smile.
He does.
He's definitely got the biggest smile in all of. He is cheese. This champion is so ridiculous. Literally, like Sam was really ready to just roll swap from support to mid just to play Ziggs every game because he's like, this champion is just not balanced. It's just free. We played a game earlier today. He played it in support. It's just not balanced. Just this champion needs to be nerfed already. Riot. This is a tournament brought to you by Riot Wisdom and Nerdstream Gaming. So if I know we got a couple rioters, please get rid of this champion.
Yeah, just delete him. Actually, I think that's fine.
Aw, poor Yordles. There's not enough Yordles in the system yet.
All right, Immortals sticking with the Nami ban. I mean, if I'm rooting for Sentinels, I'm actually happy to see this ban. I'm like, okay, more chances for Beg to be on an engaged support, some frontline. It's what I've been really liking to see Beg on. So I don't like that ban because of that reason. Because I think on Sentinel's side, I'm like, I don't want Beg to be on Nami. I'd be happy if he's picking Nami.
I would be ecstatic, and especially now that Senna's gone as well, so we don't have to have that. Corki here, Michael Udall able to control the mid lane, and Rest has had some performances on it. I think it is a lot better than some of the other AD carries just because it has an inherent way to dash away from fights and position a little bit better, which has always been Rest's problem so far in the qualifiers. But I agree. We're getting rid of Nami. And you know what? I think that just means Beg is kind of just starting to warm us up to get ready for that Janna. We're gonna get another Ardent support in the lobby.
Yeah, I keep talking about it. It's gonna be an engaged support. We get a Janna, but I do like the Corki pick as well because Immortals, you know, Hoon and Goon both have the most played on Corki, and so taking that away as a flex pick for Immortals is really good. I think Michael can perform just fine on a Corki as well, and it's a very safe lane, great team fighter, and I think that's kind of where you want Michael to be on, is safe lane, good team fighter. So I like the Corki.
Exactly.
We see the response of Gragas and Rakan, so very heavily valuing the Rakan for Yikes. And I do like taking Gragas away from MTS. I think he's been very strong on the pick.
Oh, that's an interesting gauntlet thrown. I was wondering what jungle top or jungle Baron lane they were going to go for. I thought that knowing MTS, they might have picked either Camille or Garen. But I like this, and a really aggressive start here for Sheesh being that early engine for the team on the Olaf. I think is really, really awesome. And obviously a great punish towards someone like the Rakan, who you try to go in and Olaf's like, awesome, you're in my death range. It's time.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to push Immortals to have to pick either Jarvan or Wukong maybe for the jungle, as this is somewhat of a denial to take both the Camille and the Olaf, which have been kind of the two most successful early game junglers, in order to maybe secure the early game for Sheesh, especially since Camille can find priority in a few matchups on the top side.
Okay, this is really grief, and I know I kind of made fun of it before. Jen is actually super sick in this comp. Jen is really disgusting in this comp. Stops any engage, heals through any of the damage, because you look at Immortals, there is not that much damage so far. They are lacking in that DPS department. They're going to be able to pick up Kaisa and the Braum for themselves. Good, an okay matchup into Rakan, and still setting up Sheesh and MTS on these two melees to really shine.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. I think that Braum is going to do well into the Twisted Fate and protecting your carries in case, you know, there's any gold cards coming through. You can throw up that wall. You can block a lot of the things coming out from Hoon as well. And Braum is kind of that soft counter to Gragas, preventing any kind of crazy picks with the cask. It stops it right there, knocks everybody away. Exactly. I think this is going to be a good pick for Beg. I like the melee engage supports. And I think that when you have Olaf, Corki, Camille, and Kaisa, they all want to auto attack. It's pretty good synergy with the Braum passive to get those stuns down. So I'm really liking this pick, and Immortals is kind of going back to the same comp from last game. Sans, Malphite, add Gragas.
Okay, I'll just be honest. I hate this draft from Immortals. I'm sorry for everybody at home. If they end up winning this, I'll eat my words. It's okay. It's caster bias. It happens. But just like, they're gonna do it again. They're gonna have a similar composition where you're gonna be going up against this. Is this Olaf top?
Yeah, that's what I hope you saw my face.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. I'm gonna ignore it until I hear either word from production or we get into the game, and that's gonna, you know, lock it in. But I really dislike this unless Hoon is able to get off to a side lane. If you're going to play this TF, everybody at home, if you're taking notes, go to a side lane. The whole reason for this champion is he makes it uneven for you to play. And MTS is going to take that Olaf. I've been waiting for solo lane Olaf, and this should be exciting.
Yeah, MTS gonna take that into the Baron lane. And this keeps Sheesh on Camille, which I'm always happy to see a Sheesh Camille. I think he is so exceptional on this champion. And the solo lane Olaf is actually not as easy to pick off for Hoon. This is actually a safer lane than even Camille, because Camille is very safe, right? But this just gives you the Ragnarok. So when Hoon ports in, you're actually not going to get stunned up, knocked back, knocked around. You might be able to just Ragnarok and roll your way out of that situation, and it makes it so then what do you go to the dragon lane with the TF? But there's a Braum there, which also has the Unbreakable. So it really makes it hard for Hoon to find the picks on the side lanes, and makes it so maybe Sheesh becomes the target, but also, yeah, Camille's hard enough to catch.
Also, when we're looking at gold and trying to get a lot of early gold, Olaf is a really great engine in the top side. When you're looking at the Baron lane, has an okay matchup into Gragas individually, but due to being a laner, not necessarily a jungler, there'll be a lot more gold for this champion. We'll be able to get you know, maybe we finish a couple more items. Will be a lot more threatening if we see a really expensive matchup. I am looking for MTS to kind of show off a little bit because he has great performances. Sheesh with the tax sweep.
Okay.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah, don't love that one, but what I did want to point out, actually, is Michael was trying to set up a freeze in mid. It's pretty rare we see freezes in Wild Rift, but he's trying to set up a freeze on his side of the map to help Sheesh get a gank.
We're
Lamont comes in
diving.
to break it, but now Lamont's going to go for the dive onto Beg. There's the flash away, a great flash away from the grand entrance, but now Rest is stuck in a very rough position, but that's a
What is
whip
this
by
dive,
Lamont.
guys?
And there's the exhaust. It's going to still be enough to take down as the roam from Hoon does find it, but we'll see if Mike can find some advantages in mid, at least getting some vision down. Sheesh gonna just continue to farm, but that's a play from IMT. It wasn't the prettiest dive, but they did find the kill.
I'm glad that you explained it like that. That was definitely a play that they just did. That was definitely a set of movements and a set of inputs from the Immortals team. They got it, which is cool.
It
They've
worked
got themselves another lead in the bot lane. They've took a bunch of their summoner spells. That was really, I think Sentinels made that a lot harder on themselves than they needed to. If they could stay under turret a little bit longer with beginnings, then maybe I think that this dive doesn't look as good.
Oh,
good
no.
punish.
Rest is gonna get taken down again. That's the first Destiny Gate. Almost unnecessary, but it might end up netting Beg, and it does. That's the flash forward from Hoon. Bottom lane getting heavily punished by this Twisted Fate and Jarvan combination, and we mentioned, hey, it might be hard to gank the Olaf. Can you go to bottom lane through the Unbreakable? I guess the answer is yes, Al.
They're doing a fantastic job. Okay, and this is good. This setup I was looking forward to. So now that they've actually set the bot lane behind at a significant amount, now that turret dive that we saw at the level 4 mark for Hoon comes and pays off, they're able to then get another kill, get another few kills for them, set themselves up at 2,000 gold in the advantage. And that is, I mean, honestly, what I want to see if you're going to have TF. I think this is one of the best TFs that we've seen so far in the tournament. Just from my viewing, because we're actually using side lane pressure. We're using the Destiny Gate to open up some of the other lanes and create a massive disadvantage in terms of numbers. So IMT playing really well around their star mid laner, and I'm hoping to see a little bit more of that, and maybe we get a potential IMT victory off of this, just how far ahead they are.
Yeah, Michael dropping pretty low in mid, but Hoon in general also has picked up the kills, or 2 of the kills on these dives. It's actually set him ahead of Michael as well by about 600 gold, so not even losing out at all, as we do actually have Engage on the top side. It's going to be a 2v2.
Nice.
As we do have Olaf taking down the first kill and actually gets the flash away. Lamont doesn't have too many cooldowns, but does have the Cataclysm. Hoon is first to move from mid. Sheesh will have to back away, and it's just a 1-for-1. Junglers both surviving, but now the support is there. Yikes.
Goodbye.
Alongside Hoon, that is just going to be Sheesh getting taken down straight away. Beginnings now trying to find a turn kill onto Lamont, as Michael gonna package forward.
Michael,
very aggressive. He valks back out, but now he gets knocked up by Lamont. Does have the barrier and the Unbreakable to protect him as Yikes goes in, but Mike's gonna get 2 potentially as the Ignite ticks away onto Yikes. Oh, the Airy comes back, but that looked like it was going to kill him, but it's actually his own Airy, so no worries about that one whatsoever. Mike, that was a bit aggressive, but it works out for Sentinels.
No worries at all for me. Yeah, I'm not like full body clenching right now. Oh my god. Okay, that was really close, and I think that maybe I don't know if Michael Udall was super comfortable with that Valkyrie. He's like, oh, I wish I could stop this a little bit early. But they kind of get a little bit from this. They trade some more kills. They will make another trade where they get the Rift Herald in favor for the Dragon for Immortals, but it all depends on how they cash it in. If they do another moment where they try to get a little bit of turret plates in mid lane, but not able to get much, I think that this is an overall win for Immortals in the trade. There's still a few gold up, and while they are starting to get Olaf running.
Okay. Gets out with the belt.
Hey, we're hitting the... Oh my god.
Maybe not.
Lamont?
There's a Cataclysm. Lamont just goes in. Mike, you're staying a little too long. Lamont wants to be between the 2 towers. He's living behind towers in this game, as Immortals are always first to the play. Beg is there, but he's a little late.
This is definitely a more interesting game where my mid laner is getting solo boloed by the enemy jungler. I don't know what to say. That's just the aggressive tendency that we saw from Lamont finally paying off. It is a double-edged sword, but this time it is coming up clean for Immortals as they're continuing to aggress onto Sentinels. That was one of the points of weakness that I had cited for this team, was if you get aggressive on them and they end up not being able to respond, This is what ends up happening.
Yeah, goodbye, Zoro. I mean, that's a really good cast, but I think MTS is going to be able to run this down. Maybe
Oh
not.
my god.
Gets out with the Proto Belt, and I was expecting that Iraqi Zoro was just going to go down there, but a great cast onto Camille, buys some time, and now Beg is in a little bit of trouble. Does have the Unbreakable. Will be able to step away. Ow.
That play.
He escaped.
Yeah, that play I think spells doom for Sentinels at this point. They can't make a play onto their top side using the strong nature of Olaf. They're going to try and find this onto Sheesh. Destiny.
Yeah. Destiny Gate comes through. I mean, Sheesh is just dead again. And now Beg is in a rough spot once more. Hoon is so strong, doing so much damage at this point in the game with the early kills. Has the Sheen and the Rod of Ages. IMT. This is what you want to see out of this comp. Is just the map movement. This was not there at all in game 1.
Oh, we're diving again.
And we're behind
Let's
the
go.
towers. Lamont. They find Beg. They find Rest. Actually, no. Rest able to kite away, but Michael will fall. MTS going to join the fray, but he's 1v5.
Oh, no.
Trying to 1v9 the game, but does not actually pick up any kills. That's
Goom.
a flash forward.
No.
Goom.
Oh, my God. Goom.
Goom. Oh, we've
Goom.
seen them flash forward before. We see him do it again, and they're going to fall down to Sheesh.
Goom. All right. I don't know who's the coach, who's the analyst at IMT. Tell Goom right now, disable the flash button. No more. We're getting rid of that button away from you until you learn not to do that. Oh my god. They did this on Lucian too yesterday. I hate to harp on it. Oh my god. It's still a winning play for IMT, but now they're just getting really fancy with it. They're just like trying to absolutely flex on Sentinels. And it's working for the most part. Like 99% of it is working. But,
I mean, we still have to think about the scaling, right? This is a Kaisa Corki. That's a lot of late game damage, and the front line can do a good amount without too many items, especially when we start seeing the Guardian Angels come through. Yes, Olaf is pretty weak when they don't have enough itemization because they can just get mowed down as they start to run in. But when you have a Braum and a Camille as dive buddies to buy space, they can do a lot with a little bit. And if they can make enough room for Mike and Rest, there is comeback potential in the team fights for Sentinels.
this has been the tale as old as time for Sentinels. Can they get enough time in a game to scale? And I don't know if Immortals are going to give them that luxury. We're talking about, you know, hey, if they can get some items, if they can get a little bit more experience in the game, well, look at the difference in mid lane. He backed pick-up package to get a single dagger, whereas you're looking at Hoon, who is again the most gold in the game, already has finished the Lichbane, has the Rod of Ages, and with this Rift Tail, they will try to get a little bit of gold in their pocket. They will not be able to break down this turret.
Oh, Lamont.
Sentinels, they are desperate.
Lamont trying to push this back. I don't think that IMT actually wants a full fight just yet, but they are going to look for the stun card on to beginnings. There is a kite away, and Lamont, ooh, a little bit sloppy, but does get the judgment on to Rest. Step forward, Hoon still looking for the gold card, but yeah, they may have just pushed Sentinels away to go for the Dragon at this point, and maybe Sentinels just looks to trade back and get mid-tower, get some gold back in their pockets.
Casanova, have we even been casting the same game? You say that Immortals are not looking for a fight. You're saying Sentinels might not be looking for something. Immortals just immediately want to go for something. They try to find it onto Rest. They get the killer instinct out from him, but nice use of the Destiny, trying to track several members and maybe going for a solo kill here onto Rest.
Yeah,
I like the idea.
Forward.
It is definitely an interesting one, and but at this point, it's 6,000 gold in favor of Immortals, and they are constantly shoving with their priority, utilizing their gold lead and leveraging it against Sentinels, who I still have not, I don't think have found any purchase back into this game.
Yeah, I mean, they're so far behind on itemization. I mean, like you said, 6k gold. We need these carries to catch up. Rest doesn't have a finished item at the moment. This is a really tough situation for the Kaisa. Really needs to get up to, 2-3 items to start being that late game threat. Doesn't even have one. Corki just on the Essence Reaver. So these late game scaling threats are just not there.
Run!
Sheesh.
Run, Sheesh.
Run, Sheesh.
Oh, no.
Run. The stun, the knock up, the damage. There's the Hextech ultimatum and the flash away. Beautiful play from Sheesh to get out of that one. But now Mike is in a lot of trouble. Going to bounce backwards. Lamont trying to step up and get a little bit more. But IMT not going to find the kill just yet until Hoon. Flash forward. That's going to be MTS falling. The Olaf will be the only victim. But that may convert into a Baron as Sentinels do have to back off.
This just feels mean at this point because you also have the Mountain Drake, which is giving them a small out-of-combat shield, and any damage that Sentinels would land, it's like, oh, the Mountain Soul or the Mountain Drake just, kind of just ate all that up. I think they might try to make a play, try to find some
Sheesh.
members. Sheesh goes
Sheesh is
in.
Where's the spike? Sheesh
He gets
steals
it!
He steals it! Sheesh trying
Let's
to pull him back into
go!
the game by himself. He tries to pull him back into the game. Sentinels have the Baron on 4 or 3 members, and they can back away and defend. We said they needed to buy time, and Sheesh is going to pull that time together for Sentinels.
The young 16-year-old jungler comes up clutch. We've been talking about being top 2 junglers in the entire major and definitely trying to put his stamp on that title. Maybe it's just Camille. Something about Camille players is built diff here at the majors for the Summoner series, but that right there, talking about buying time, it stops Immortals from being able to siege onto the turrets and gives them a little bit of breathing room in this game. I don't think it's quite purchased them and, you know, kind of gotten them out of the rut, but Sentinels at least looking somewhat alive and still looking to play this one out. Like that play, and honestly a little bit sloppy from Immortals not being able to cover their bases and stop that kind of engage from Sheesh.
Yeah, put a body on him. The kid walked up and jumped over the wall, was able to get the steal. You've got a Rakan, you've got a Gragas. Put a body on him. Stop him from getting in there. But Sheesh finds the steal. Amazing play. And Sheesh has just been phenomenal across this tournament. And even though this game has looked a bit rough for Sheesh, still pulling out the heroics in the late game.
I'm not leaving. He's got the movie gif ready on Twitter. He's saying, I'm not leaving. I'm not going. Everybody's, I mean, we're up in hurrah for this guy right now, but Sheesh does not want to go down without a fight. They want to try and get priority. They actually got a full turret off of that in the mid lane, so Sentinel's doing a little bit with that Baron so far. They're trying to maybe, I would hope they try to glide this into bot lane. You see that wave. Sheesh can try to prep it with the Baron.
Ooh,
Fighting and engage, but I don't know if Lamont can do anything here.
Okay, that was the Valk out of Michael. A little bit scary when that's down, but Mike does have flash. Would be able to escape if there was anything.
Is he resetting for package? Okay, thank you, observers, for showing this. 30 seconds before Drake spawns. Now 20 here. If they can find something with the package, if they can use it to keep Immortals out, they will get this Cloud Drake. And it's a little bit of movement speed. It's not the best. It's not the you know, the most worthwhile, but it stops IMT from doing a little bit more of that Drake stacking. Oh, it's an Ocean Drake. My bad. I can't read. It's okay. Eyes hurt. Oh, man. That is good. That actually gives them out-of-combat regen, and that is actually important. That might be good for them.
Will help with the poke that can come through from the TF, from Zaya. Sheesh is stamping a little bit too far forward. He gets knocked in.
No.
Great play from Rakizoro, but Sheesh is able to get away for now. Does have the Guardian Angel. That is going to proc. We're going to have to see where this package goes, as there's the jump in from Lamont. That's the engage. Rakizoro's stuck on the package, taking so much damage, getting melted down, but he's very tanky. Beg going to be the first to fall. Rakizoro able to step away. Now Hoon with the red
Look at this red card.
So much splash damage from Hoon as he tries to take him down. That's the hourglass from Michael, but he's not going to be able to live any longer. Sheesh going to be picked up, and it's just rest remaining as it's a 4-for-0 exchange, and they've got a wave coming down mid lane. Hoon!
Oh my god, wait. Hoon!
Hoon! No, he dies! He dies off screen to Kaisa. Rest takes him down. Maybe that's enough. There's the TP in from Lamont. Just has to buy 15 seconds for Beg and for MTS. Rest, can you hold on? I don't know if he can. Has to get to the wave. They're going on to it. They're going right away. Rest is going for the wave. He's going for the wave. Tries to stall enough time. Beg is up now. They're hitting the Nexus. They do have a cannon.
Wait a minute.
Beg is there to block. He's got the Unbreakable. There's the slow under Rakizoro. MTS going to start chasing down. Michael has spawned. He can start to chase Beg. Not going to find any more. We got IMT continuing to cut away. Beg doesn't want to let up just yet, as MTS now joining the chase. There's another slow. Are they going to keep chasing?
I like
just
this.
Force them out and get the dragon.
Stop the recalls. Stop the recalls. Stop the
base.
recalls. Stop them from getting back into the base. Hoon and Lamont are going to be up. This should be the Ocean Drake going over to Sentinels, but I don't know if the mid-jungle duo from IMT are going to allow that to happen. Looks like they'll just take the blue buff for their troubles. And Sentinels, they hold on a little bit. I think there's minions still hitting the base. I don't know if I'm looking at the... Oh, it's a... Wait, but you just clear it. Okay,
yeah, well, just cleared it.
Whatever. Okay, awesome. Good. They're able to stop a potential, you know, trying to see where certain members are if they're coming off of a reset. Baron is up, and this should be IMTs. You look at Hoon, the Destiny Gate is almost available. That fight was so close, but I just think that, honestly, the Corki package did 0 damage to Rakizoro. He's just standing on it as a Gragas. He's like, oh, this is like a sauna for me? Like, I'm doing fine. Like, I don't got to worry too much about this. You know, it does a ton of damage when you're a squishy member, but they're still behind. And with all the hype hubbubaloo that we've gotten from the Sentinels versus Immortals game so far, this is still Immortals' game to lose. Now 10,000 gold, the massive item differences are coming in, and they're trying to make a play. They're trying to force Sentinels away from this top side, and look for this. Destiny Gate comes out right on the Sheesh.
Very aggressive. It's on to Sheesh. Beg. Great unbreakable. Good
That's
turnaround.
a good fight. Wait a minute.
There's Rest coming in, trying to get big damage, and that's a kill onto Rakan. First kill already coming out. Sentinels grabs it.
Gragas is here.
No victims from Sentinels yet. Beg gonna be able to back as well as Sheesh. Heal up, and we have to watch when Sheesh's GA comes back up. It's important, but that's IMT on the Baron. Sentinels has to check it. They're not looking.
They don't know.
It's gone.
Or I mean, they're sending pings.
It's gone. It's gone.
All right. Sentinel. Casanova, I just want to take a moment to breathe now, because I just realize the ridiculous nature of what just happened. IMT dive tier 2 turret in the Baron lane, and they lose their support. And what happens? They just go do Baron, and Sentinels can't do anything after that. I think that's pretty ridiculous. It's kind of funny in like a really sad way, but they're able to get it. And MTS? I think MTS, not long for the world.
Does have the flash. Okay. Gets away from the Cataclysm.
Corki package.
Is
they
pretty
might look for
far
something.
forward. They don't get the tag from Beg. Not going to be able to find anything just yet, Alk, as we do have the Elder spawning very soon.
It's Elder Cloud. The Elder tick damage is going to mean a lot more than just the movement speed, so pretty unlucky with the Drakes. Even if Sentinels were to get this one, I think it will just barely mitigate, try to mitigate anyway, a lot of the advantage that Immortals are having. They can push on 2 lanes. They're going to get one final fight in this. Just look at the damage coming out from the TF right now.
Unbreakable
so
down.
Disgusting.
Unbreakable down from the Braum. They have to back off. They have to respect it. There's a flash in from Iraqi Zoro. Whiffs on the cask. Michael still has the package. They can look to turn. They're all stacking up on the Glacial Fissure. Lamont gets slowed down. Iraqi Zoro misses once again. But Michael going in takes so much damage from Hoon. The first kill falls. It's yikes, but that is all of Sentinel starting to fall over, as there's still 4 remaining for IMT. They're going to clean up the last few. That's a triple kill for Goom, and that's the Nexus going to fall. And they're tying up the series 1-1. Immortals coming back with the run back on the same draft and picking up the victory.
All right, never mind. I'll eat my words. I'm sorry, chat. I'm sorry to Immortals for doubting you. Second time's the charm. We were talking yesterday, you know, first game jitters. They had to get it out of the way. They basically play the same comp, and this time execute on it fantastically. It all starts from that level 4 gank into the bot lane that we had a few question marks for, but they come out ahead. That was a really wild game.
Look, the dive wasn't pretty, but it got the results, right? They got the kill, they got the summoners out, and it's set up for that first Destiny Gate from Hoon to set the tempo for that game, being able to get another kill, just setting Rest so far behind that it was a meteoric climb back that Sentinels had to make, and Sheesh tried to pull them back in with that Baron steal, but it just was not enough to overcome the advantages that were gained from the early game. This is what we wanted to see out of, I think it was Yawn yesterday, picking those early game comps, setting up those dives, and then not converting in the late game, whereas Immortals did the same. They picked this comp that has a lot of early game aggression. They go very aggressive on the tower dives early. They build a lead, and then they did convert. They finished it off.
I think when you look at the in-game meta right now, where we're looking at Hoon on this TF potentially, mid lane dominance is so important. I know we're probably not going to see it, but where is Akali? Where are all these other picks? And I don't necessarily think what we saw from Sentinels was the best. I'm personally still really down on Corki. It has looked okay in certain hands. I know that Goom and Hoom have found various amounts of success on it, but in their losses, in the qualifier, Hoom on this Corki did not look fantastic, and I think even Michael Udall trying his most, we saw a lot of those fights, we saw a lot of those packages. It barely got the job done, I think, in a lot of cases.
Yeah, wasn't quite able to get the job done on that one. I mean, we've even seen, even yesterday, though, we saw Truth really bringing it home on Corki. The Corki has had some pretty stellar performances, but it did look a little bit rough in this game. Overall, wasn't able to get as much done as, of course, the Twisted Fate. And the Twisted Fate in the hands of Hoon, after game 1, we had some questions, but game 2, I think he shut everybody up with that performance.
Hoon logged off after that game 1, and then he logged back in for game 2. He wasn't in on game 1. That was not actually Hoon. That was someone else.
That was new. Now we have Hoon. And
Yes.
Hoon is ready to play. Immortals bringing it for game 2. But we do have the series tied up 1-1. Welcome back to the Wild Rift Summoner Series Major 1 Day 2, brought to you by Riot, Wisdom, and Nerd Street. I'm Casanova. That's Still Out Battery, and we've got quite the banger of a series going on right now. If you've missed the first 2 games, I mean, where were you? Get in here, watch game 3, because game 1 was looking very back and forth till Sentinels took it down in the team fights, and now Immortals had a dominant early game that they were able to close out even through a Baron steal from Sheesh. But Alk, going into a game 3 between these 2 teams, I can't wait. How are you feeling about this game 3?
I'm a little down on Sentinels right now. I know it's a little bit reactive, but they have not performed very well in really long series. A lot of times they've looked good in their first game. We saw it in Cloud9 last night where they put up a really good fight up against them, but then we're not able to close that game out and then still ended up losing the next game where they looked really, really weak. That has been kind of a really big theme for them, where their game 1 looks strong, their second game is a little bit weak from them, and their game 3s have not looked all that good. I don't know if they've found a win in a game 3 scenario so far throughout the qualifiers and this major, so it's not looking good historically speaking. I'm always ready for an upset from Sentinels or from any team really, but if they want to make it through, they need to find that second win. And this is not even the last match they have to play today, right? If they continue on from here, they're going to have to face the winner of Cloud9 versus YMCA after that. So they need to be able to find something. And I don't know if it's going to be like a mental shift or if it's just going to be another champion pool change, but something to pull them and drag them over the line into the majors.
Well, we're going to see if they can fight their way through and fight their way back after that game 2 loss. We're going into the game 3 draft. Sentinels versus Immortals. Immortals on the blue side. This time around, Sentinels will have that counter pick potentially for Michael, or more likely for MTS.
How many supports can we ban? Woo!
Let's
Recon.
see. Yeah, well, maybe you'll see a Recon adaptation out of Sentinels. Immortals have been heavily prioritizing that for Yikes.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think now. I'm like, we got rid of Lee Sin last time. It was like, okay, we're getting rid of stuff for Lamont. But if I have to play Jarvan every game, that's okay, says Lamont. I'm going to play Jarvan. That's okay. A win is a win. We take those.
We do take those. And also, yeah, if you're playing Sentinels, I think at this point, ban Ori. Like, it seems to be like Sentinels with Ori almost always win. Sentinels without Ori are not quite finding that same success. So, yeah, I like the Ori ban. I think that when you see Sentinels on the other side, the first slot of bans might just need to be that Orianna.
Feels really bad too, because you're just like, okay, well, we got rid of the one trick. Michael, you got anything up there? And he just like, he checks the pocket sleeve and he's like, he sees Ari's face just like looking back at him. He sees Corky's face just like the like panic flare. He's like, no, no, pick me TF, please.
Yeah, get the TF. Take it away from Hoon, right? Hoon's been really good on it. We talked about Mike's TF leading into the series. You know, his lane phase on the TF has been a bit rough, but the mid to late game was looking good, and I think Sentinels should be able to survive to the mid to late. I think TF was a problem for the bot lane, but if you pick it away, I don't know that Hoon's going to have that same pressure on your dragon lane and be pushing Rest and Beg that hard. So I think it can be a good kind of takeaway from Immortals, and also put Michael on something that he feels pretty comfortable on, that he played in both games in their win yesterday.
I think what I'm really excited for, where's Camille? Is Camille going to be kind of the super spicy pick, right? Like, are we going to get that again for Sheesh, and will that be allowed? And what is MTS's champion pool looking like? Because we got an Olaf game. It wasn't super impressive, but it's an Olaf game nonetheless. And like, what are we setting up MTS for success for? Garen has obviously been a massive success for them, but I don't know, like, we're getting rid of Ori, Twisted Fate for blue side now on Immortals. Like, how deep can Michael Udall's champ pool go if we're really pushing it?
Yeah, I mean, that's where we end up on something like the Ari that you and I have harped on a lot.
Please.
More so the pick than anything. We don't like the pick. in this meta. It just doesn't feel like it's that good. Maybe, I know people talked about it as a counter pick to Orianna, but even then it's like, okay, but then you're still playing Ahri in a lot of these team fights versus the other side having an Orianna. So I'm very interested in what Michael's pick will be in this game. I think this is it's important that he's on something that can impact the fights in the mid game, but also has a good lane phase. Because Hoon was abusive in that last game, pushing so aggressively and being able to find these roams, and Mike was not able to punish off these roams. Hoon was getting all of this for free on the bottom side, and you got to see the answer. Rakan is finally going to be banned away from Yikes.
All right, Immortals, let's see it. Are you going to first pick the TF away from Sentinels, or are Sentinels going to get their zero loss? We got actually a stat update from production. Thank you guys. 100% win rate on TF for Michael Udall. So if you're going to pick this champion, you got to be able to take away. Hoon's played now 2 games of it. He's going to get a full series worth. That'll take over his most played champion throughout the qualifiers in the majors. This time it is going to be Gragas yet again potentially for Iraqi Zoro.
I like it. Take it away from MTS. Iraqi looked good on this pick throughout the game. There were a couple casks that went a little bit wide, but realistically, Iraqi was doing a great job of being the front line for their team, and MTS has been incredibly solid on the Gragas. So I like this just like I like the TF for Sentinels, where it's taking it away from someone who's been playing it very well, and you're giving it to your own player who's also had a good time on this champion. And Gragas also just being one of the top meta picks in the game at the moment, one of the best Baron laners that we've seen throughout the major. And I really like this for Zoro. Corki, Camille, running it back from last game. I know, Alec, you're not excited about the Corki. I'm sure you're happy about the Camille. I'm also happy. Everybody's happy about Sheesh on Camille.
Yeah, I would love to see.
Maybe less so.
I will watch 1,000 games of any of the junglers here in the tournament play Camille. That is just like Tybe. Again, we're watching other teams like T-Tigers, just all of them look fantastic on Camille. I really, really despise Corki. We'll see what happens. Maybe a better game. Maybe they give it to rest and they try to do something with it. Senna avoided the bans, so Yikes will have a Senna game. And if, historically what we're speaking about, we're looking at Senna, this has looked like one of the most dominant supports in the entire game, just because of just how broken her kit is.
Yeah, she has been one of the best supports that we've seen, eating a lot of bans, having a lot of first picks. We even saw her being flexed by enemy, not only in the Dragon Lane duo position, but also the support position. And there we go, TF for Michael, and that's the Garen you were talking about that you wanted to see from MTS. I do like this rotation because it's comfort for MTS. We've seen a lot of Garen out of them, and Michael is getting the TF away from Hoon, getting it for themselves, and gives additional backline dive to get on the Senna and the Xayah to help out Sheesh.
This is a really sick combo. I was looking forward to this. I was kind of hoping that this would be their red 1 and 2 picks for Sentinels. We were picking Camille and TF, still a little bit flexible with where you could put Camille. And now you have someone who's a very dangerous threat on the side lanes that can always be answered with the TF. But now Diana to try and chase away Twisted Fate. I like this as an answer, and I'll have to see what happens with Hoon. He has looked fantastic on some of these melee carries like Yasuo, Akali, and Diana. Looking forward to what he puts up in terms of performance. No, it's Nami.
Yeah, it's been banned the first 2 games. I was kind of thinking this was going to happen, Alec, and I don't hate Nami in this spot. I just really like when Beg is on the engage melee supports. I was hoping for maybe a Leona. I didn't really like Braum here. I actually don't really like Braum into Senna. So
no.
At the end of the day, I really was starting to think we're just going to get the Nami with Rakan and Galio off the table. At least the tidal wave can assist the dive from Sheesh and assist the engage, and maybe she can find enough peel, but this is going into a Diana Jarvan engage coming through, and I don't love an enchanter to answer that.
This is a good bot lane for Sentinels. They have lots of priority. They can poke when they need to, and a lot of that damage is going to stick onto someone like Goom. So if they can try to abuse this Xayah, you have lots of ways to get down there. You got the blueprint. 3 games in a row now. TF ult bot lane. That's it. That's all you got to do, guys. There's nothing else to it. You don't got to get fancy. You don't got to do these level 4 turret dives where 4 people are like tanking turret. No. Just dive the bot lane. That's all you got to do. And Hoon, Immortals, trying to take control of the early mid wave, get some early jungle priority, try to find out and scout where Sheesh is. Ooh.
Yeah, they find Sheesh straight away. Now Michael's looking for vision. A little bit scary. Does run into Lamont, but not actually going to have anything come of that. But Diana is just continuing to play for priority in the mid lane. And right now, Michael is falling behind in that priority a lot of the time. And that's something that we have to watch out for as the game continues. Because Michael needs to create priority and look to engage on the side lanes with that Destiny Gate once we get to those level 5s. As once again, Yikes and Goom are the ones with the pushing lane on the bottom side.
I think a lot of that is going to be contextual. Like, if he really needs to, I'm sure Michael will just drop a wave. Like, yes, he will drop a wave. You will go down potentially a plate to someone like Diana. But if you can set either MTS or your bot lane ahead with how hard this Xayah and Senna are pushing, I think a wave is inconsequential when it comes to the advantages that they would be looking to get, as already they're making that move. They're going even faster than Hoon did last game. He said, you guys went on level 4, we're going level 3. Let's go.
Yeah, and it looks like they're just playing for the crab, and now Michael's going to have to get back up towards this wave so he doesn't miss anything. Diana's going to have more time to potentially get a reset and get back to lane before Mike can find one, but maybe Mike has an opportunity here to actually push this next wave and look for an engage, but no, we do see Hoon end up staying. And it will just be the bottom lane continuing to push out for Yikes and Goom. They are pushing relentlessly, though, so that is going to be where Mike has an opportunity to gank.
Just constantly. I love this move from Hoon. As soon as the wave is out under turret, they have been seen, but it is a level 3 Garen versus a level 5 Gragas. Massive for them. And you should be able to poke out, go a little bit too soon on the dive there, but I mean, look at how well they're pressuring MTS. That is a lot of experience to be missing early on.
Are we playing League of Legends? They're diving him again. Are we playing League of Legends?
What the? Wait, what? Hello?
Why'd he step back up? He stepped back in. He goes down. Iraqi Zoro stacks a wave. Are we just playing League? This is just League. He stacks a wave, and they dive. This is just textbook League of Legends top lane play, but it's in Wild Rift. And they've set up a stacked wave, have a 2-level advantage. This is doomed for MTS. His lane is over. His lane is over.
This is literally how Baron lane goes a lot of the time. If this kind of stuff happens, especially with that massive wave that's crashing into his turret, you are just crying. You basically have no more agency in the game. The entire game is then dictated to you by Iraqi Zoro and how he wants you to move around this game. Not many of the laners we've seen have had great ability to kind of manipulate waves so far, and while it's great that I'm seeing this from Immortals, if they can replicate this kind of success in multiple different series, then I think Immortals can start to come in as a massive dark horse later on into the majors.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the best dives we've actually seen in the qualifier.
Period.
Because of the fact that it was set up so beautifully. Yeah, we've seen some clean dives, but this was just devastating for MTS. Losing out on all of those minions, and he's down 1,000 gold at this point in the game.
Usually that's what happens when you die early game, especially First Blood. We saw it in every single one of these games where, especially when Xayah got this.
Destiny Gate.
Okay, TF just to get vision.
It's on the bot lane. Gets the stun down onto Goom. Goom's going to get taken down real quick.
Shield,
but does
nice.
get the flash away. There's the Hextech ultimatum. Sheesh picks that up. But there is the counter. Hoon was able to move, and now Beg is going to fall, and this is just going to be a 2-for-1. Immortals end up coming out on top of this one, and that's going to net them a dragon.
They'll get the dragon, and now they're just firmly in the lead. Michael Udall on this TF. They're going to make a trade on the Rift Trail, but look at this. Members already making the rotation over. If they can stop this, I think that is a massive loss for Sentinels. They're already getting onto the position for this Rift Trail. Corki package here for rest. We'll have to see. This is devastating if they lose this Herald.
MTS is still level 6 to Iraqi's 7. We do just see the Gragas go in onto Sheesh. No Hextech ultimatum available. That's the package. Very aggressive from Rest, but he's just going to get taken down immediately by Hoon. There's a trade back onto Lamont, but now it's Mike trying to come in and get the damage down, but he's just a twisted fate. He doesn't have much of a front line with the Garen being so weak at this point. Not going to be able to step in, and that's just potentially going to be a rift going over to IMT.
Casanova, we didn't get to talk about it this game, but that might have implications here for who's going on next. Thankfully for Sentinels, they don't get the Herald stolen away or taken by Immortals, but this is a game 3. Whoever wins this is going to move on. Loser is going to have to wait till next week for the qualifier, and he's going to be pretty sad all the while. We are in the losers bracket, and that right there is an incredibly dicey call, I think, from Sentinels if that ends up going even more awry.
Yeah, I mean, you lose here, you go home with nothing but a ticket to the next qualifier. And that's not where you want to be when you're just one game away from being in the money, being in the next major, not having to take that time. You instead get some time off to practice and save some strategies. But it's a very important match between these two, and Sentinels need to look to hang on. Looks like some trading on the top side, but Hoon able to get away. And now Michael stepping very aggressively. Lamont looks for the engage. Rakizora on the side gets the knock in on Rest.
Good.
That's going to be a big cataclysm to just trap Michael here, and there's no way out. That's a double kill for Goom, and IMT are on a big march to pick up more and more gold and objectives early on in this game.
They want to break the stats. They said, hey, keep your stats. We like the magic. It works better for us. Immortals trying to put a dent into Sentinels' win streak, or some of their individual stats on these champions, and they're doing quite a good job at it. 4,000 gold almost now with this Rift Herald. Going to be picking up a few more souls. And if they want to cash it in now, look at just how they're using Destiny Gate. Maybe they get this onto them?
Yeah, the bubble on the follow-up, a little bit of an overlap, but Sheesh layers
look how
it very
tanky
well.
He is.
He just won't die yet, but Sheesh is going to have another primary ability up soon. Picks up that kill. Beg almost takes that a little bit too long, falling very low, but they will get the tower and the kill. Get a little gold back, but they will lose their mid tower for it, and that's a lot of control and vision that will be helping out IMT.
Oh, can he get it? Doesn't get the plate, which is good. It's a little bit of turret damage, but that kill is about all Sentinels can pray to get at this point. The fact that they're able to just barely kill a Rocky Zoro under his turret is spelling really dangerous terms here for Sentinels as they try to claw themselves back. We're talking about how Hoon has been a massive contributor to their wins, a massive portion of their gold in every one of them. Look at this. He can do it on TF. He can do it on Diana, Yasuo, doesn't matter. Every single time, Hoon is always looking to be the best player on the server at any given moment, and he's doing a fantastic job and try to showcase that.
Yeah, we said that Hoon had to step up today, and they absolutely have. All three of these games, they have looked very good, looking in form today, and that's bodes well for IMT going forward.
All right,
oh, Rocky. Not going to let him take this. Still defending the towers.
That's
no gold for you.
Really good. If he can stall this wave for a few... Okay, question mark ping. All right, I'm question mark pinging you, Rest. You have a drag up in 15 seconds. They really want this top turret, but I just don't know. You're going to trade this for a turret. You're not going to be in position for this Drake. This is a very dangerous call coming out from Sentinels, and I think that utilizing some of your resources like that, unless you can somehow make a hasty, grab bag trade for the mid lane, I don't know if Immortals are going to let you do that. You're going to come out worse for wear in this one.
Yeah, the items are actually even, so even though they're down so much gold, this would be a pretty good time to fight. However, they just used the package. So that kind of takes away the fact that it would be a good time to fight. Because even though there's an item, or the gold differential, there actually isn't that much of a power difference between the two, other than maybe a couple levels.
I mean, now we've been talking about it. I've been a huge fan of just talking about the small incremental advantages that you can get from certain of these Drakes, and that Mountain Drake, the resistances that you get, and also just the flat shield is going to be so troublesome for Sentinels, as they're already, we're talking about how even they are right now, but give this game another 5 minutes and you see that gold start to get more and more in favor of one team if, we continue to follow trends. Speaking of, goodbye beginnings.
Beg goes down immediately. Michael
Sheesh.
trying to do some damage. Sheesh is there. That's a flash forward from Mike.
No. Oh, no.
Miscommunication between the two players. Sheesh is stepping away as Michael's flashing forward. You hate to see it.
That one feels bad. That's a feels bad man in chat. You see that one and you just go, oh. But they're trying to look for something in mid. Maybe on the Hoon. No flash, but not able to get anything. And this might be a return here for Immortals.
Yeah, there's the Cataclysm from Lamont. The stun card turning it around, but Lamont is very tanky. Rest and Michael not really having enough damage. Now Hoon goes over the wall, getting onto Rest, trying to get the damage. There's the follow-up, and there's just no damage from Sentinels being turned back around. 2 kills for IMT. Oh, even more.
There might be more.
The engage. They're just going to try and dive.
They're diving.
This might be over-aggressive, but we'll see how it pans out as MTS trying to turn this around is going to fall first as Mike goes down as well, and it's just one back, taking down Lamont, but that is such a slaughter for IMT. They get 4 kills.
Yeah, that might just be the game right there. I mean, Casanova, we're in this, and look at this now. They're diving in between turrets, which I don't think it's all that surprising coming up from Immortals, considering what we got from last game with Lamont. He's pretty angry about this one. At least he's playing like it. He's playing right now as if, look, I'm playing for my tournament life right now, and after the games that I had yesterday on that Fizz and on the Jarvan, I never want that to happen again. I never want these teams to see me play like that. They need to see the vengeance of this player, and doing a fantastic job on this one so far, playing without reserve.
Yeah, Lamont has absolutely stepped it up, and Hoon trying to find the engage, but there's no turnaround from Sentinels. Hoon just gets to jump in and poke, and now beg. The Nami just getting made into sushi once more as Mike trying to get out of this one. Gonna end up getting out with the Destiny Gate. The root was trying to come through. That wouldn't have even stopped him in the first place. Needs some time to channel on that, but Iraqi Zoro trying to continue the engage mid, and that forces out the package, and that should mean that Immortals pulls the trigger on some Baron posturing with no package.
They might keep going?
Yikes. Flash away. Stun from Mike.
We're going to continue to fight.
Lamont gets to come back in, goes for the knockup. There's the moonfall. Hoon going very aggressive. Fights on two fronts, but on both fronts, it's looking good for IMT. Lamont going to be the only one to fall from that side. MTS going to get away with their life, and now Mike's trying to do some damage over the wall onto... Yikes, not going to be able to find enough. And Goom gonna flash forward, has the ultimate. Feathers fall, and so does Michael Udall. And there we're gonna have them pick up those kills, move towards the Baron once again, just continuing the posturing to find even more picks and extend the lead.
Okay, Goom, I get it. You want to really flash forward. It looked good. It looked cool. It's definitely a highlight clip on Xayah, but we call it. What do you want to call? Since this game is pretty doomed here for Sentinels, do we want to name? Do you want to try and name the TF ult there? It doesn't. We were talking about it earlier. It might not be the Messiah. Could we call it maybe the Judas?
Because you're leaving your team behind.
Yeah, you're just leaving your team behind.
TP.
It's very traitorous.
Oh my god. Well, we're gonna have to talk about more later. The moonfall is gonna connect onto 4 members, and IMT just going to move on through Sentinels, picking up a couple more kills, extending the lead to 10,000 gold.
All right. There we go. That was the Immortals that I was looking for from yesterday, from the qualifiers, being so dominant in their victories, getting Hoon off to a massive start, and getting the rest of their team to kind of follow in line. And despite all this, Iraqi Zoro, game after game, has looked rather impressive, still being a little bit of a role player, playing those tank engaged top laners in the Baron lane. But every time, I think, has been a fantastic player all throughout, and especially in this game 3, has had some pretty awesome moments for himself. Able to start on multiple objectives, that slow wave crash that we saw at the beginning of the game, turning out to be one of our better Baron laners here at the majors, and I mean, props to them.
Yeah, I mean, the wave manipulation was one of the most impressive moments that we've had in general, and I think we'll start to see that a lot more in Wild Rift, especially even just as this tournament series develops. This might end up being a thing that is happening pretty consistently. We even saw earlier junglers trying to break freezes in other lanes, especially in the mid lane. So I'm looking forward to even more of that, and even more out of Iraqi Zoro, especially because IMT getting to fight over and over again. It works better when you've got a massive gold lead.
Yeah, I usually feel a lot better permanently fighting every time I have a lead too. That usually is what happens. That's one way to keep a lead, which is, instead of choking them out, it is just like forcibly making them not be able to play the game. Gray screen is the best kind of CC. Gets the flash out for Michael Udall. They're just gonna let all of these minions just slaughter the turret. And there's not much range from the side of Sentinels. It is basically on Immortals. They're going to go in on this.
There's the Moonfall going to land onto 1. There's the jump away with the package.
Oh my god,
but a big Cataclysm from Lamont. Just going to catch on to a few members of Sentinels. And yes, they're tanking the Nexus, but Iraqi can wear that without fear. He does not care about any of this damage. He's far too tanky. And IMT going to take down Sentinels and move on to the Major 2, as well as move into that top 4 of Major 1.
I want to make sure, before we lock that in, do they actually move into top 4? Because they go to losers round 3, and they have to face whoever wins Cloud9 and YMCA. The winner of that, I think, goes top 4. Because then you're waiting for the loser of Tribe and Enemy.
There's only 4 teams left, right? Sentinels, Immortals, winner of Cloud9 and YMCA.
Mm-hmm.
and then Tribe and Enemy. That's 4 teams. Unless
We're
I'm
gonna let the
insane.
TOs figure this out.
They'll
I'm
tell
not
us.
doing
They'll
math
tell
on
us.
stream. We're gonna let the TOs do this. I'm not doing math.
They'll
I
tell
get
me if I'm
flamed all
right
the
or
time
not.
for doing this. I already see Lena and Mac typing in chat. I'm probably getting roasted. I don't care. Whatever.
I see some
Great game from
outkick
Immortals.
W's in there.
Nah, I
Outkick
need
W's.
outkick
There we
W's.
go.
I need outkick W's in the chat
There
right
we
now.
go. Yeah,
God.
outkick W's.
Oh man.
Bracket math, forehead. Yeah, we got it.
Please.
Yeah. I've done enough double limbs in my day. I know when I'm out of top 4. And IMT knows they're in the top 4 of this one as they take out Sentinels. But Sentinels, I will say, looked a lot better than yesterday. And this is a team that they've lost to in the qualifiers. And we may have expected IMT to take this coming in. We may not have even expected this to be as close of a series as Sentinels was able to make it.
They performed, I think, about on par for Sentinels. And looking at the qualifier 1, I want to see them come in with some life. And, you know, they will have time. They could watch tape. They have a bunch of teams that are going to be on stream now that they could try to pick their brains and see what works, what doesn't for them. I'm very sad. I'm very sad to see Sentinels go. They had a great lineup. Obviously, all the guys on the roster are just really great to talk to and have been fantastic throughout the qualifiers and in the major. But IMT, nothing to take away from them. They are looking good. They are still, you know, it is Hoon, it is Team Hoon. We're waving the flag around, the IMT flag, and we're running straight into the enemy because this is just permanently fighting with this Jarvan. I'm glad we get to see a better look from Lamont, and what I want from them now is whoever you're up against, probably going to be C9, but we'll have to see if maybe we get an upset from YMCA. Please, please, please play around this mid laner and make sure that you're not getting too ahead of yourself. We're not diving too many turrets early on because they definitely get a little bit hot-headed.
Yeah, well, if you are a Sentinels fan, do not worry. They do have opportunities in the future qualifiers to come back in to the future majors and eventually try and make their way into the championship. But congratulations to IMT for moving on to the top 4. They're going to still be in this bracket. We've got even more amazing Wild Rift action to play. Cloud9 versus YMCA up next. Wild Rift Summoner Series will return after this short break. Don't go anywhere.